So
Come on.
the big one.
Come on.
The big one.
Remontada. What was it?
Remontada. Remontada.
What happened? What happened at the Bernabeu? What happened at the Bernabeu? 90 minutes? Get out of here, man. Come on, man.
Madrid.
Come on, man. Rice
What
is
are you
home.
saying?
Rice is home.
What are you saying,
Rice
man?
is home.
That first leg was insane.
Oh,
man.
listen, Real Madrid should have focused on the midfield rather than focusing on PR. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, rather than focusing on PR. Yeah, these guys were not trying to play no football. These guys were trying to play.
What are you saying? What, first leg or second leg?
Oh, first leg, yeah, Real Madrid couldn't play football. Yeah, we didn't allow them.
You know what? Before you continue, yeah. All of you bums now trying to say Real Madrid are dead. I didn't hear that before the legs. I didn't hear that before the tie. So don't come with that now. Yeah? Saka celebration. It's all talk to me. It's all talk. Nobody was saying Real Madrid were rubbish. But Arsenal beat them, now they're rubbish. Come on, man. Let's be real. Anyway,
90 minutes is a long time in Bernabeu.
Anyway, let's get back to football.
Okay.
Let's get back to football.
Okay.
So yeah, man, the first leg.
Yeah, bro. Oh my.
I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was nervous. Obviously, I attended the game. I was in the stadium. I've never seen Emirates rocking like that.
Yeah.
That atmosphere was the most intense atmosphere I've seen since I've been going to Emirates. Yeah, just the fans were up for it. The players were up for it, mate. Bro, it was just it was ridiculous, man. We started the game a bit shaky. I feel like when we started the game, we were playing Real Madrid the badge, not the team, and we were, we looked okay, but there was just a couple moments of maybe nervousness. I might put it down to Kivior plays that ball back into the into the middle of the pitch, and on another day. Mbappe, if he slots, it could be a different game, but he didn't, and we take those. I think there was another back pass from Saka as well, and I was shouting. I was like, Saka, what are you doing? If you remember, Vinny was on the left hand side, and he just ran the length of the pitch. Okay. But his final ball wasn't good enough. I think he got cut out by Saliba. I think.
Yeah.
But other than that, I did not feel troubled in that first leg at all.
Yeah.
I
think the way I look at how we play and stuff like that, the way we performed in that game. Do you remember? I've said this like multiple times already about how I feel like we're built for the Champions League rather than the league.
You've said it, and I've never really been on that train. But
I say over and over again. Yeah, I've seen the likes of Juventus get to the finals. I see the likes of Atletico Madrid get to the finals. But the only thing is that I always say is that, and which you're right about, is that you're built for it, and you can get there, but then like you don't have that final bit. You get it, and which matters in the end. But I've always felt like, on the right night, if we put things together, because of how we play, like the first thing Arteta did as soon as he came to Arsenal was improve us defensively, and then the second thing was improve the mentality because we became more competitive. Guys like Mikel Merino, Martinelli, I don't think these are like the guys that should be first choice or anything like that. But these guys are very competitive. These guys are very competitive, and they're the kind of players. Like sometimes you see when Atletico get to the finals, and you look at the midfield, and you're like, who are these players? You know what I mean? But these are very competitive guys. I feel like Arteta, what he's done here is prioritize physicality, players that are willing to run, players that are willing to defend, players that players that are not liabilities on the pitch. We're very compact. We defend well.
Hard to break down.
Exactly. We defend well. And we attack as a unit, which obviously we don't have the individuals, but we attack as a unit instead. But we're so solid and we're so hard to break down. You see what I mean? And I knew that's something that can trouble, because we've seen Atletico trouble Real Madrid.
Yeah,
we see them trouble them. We've seen Juventus trouble Real Madrid as well. I think Juventus were on that Real Madrid run. When they won the Champions League 4 times. Four times in 3 years. I think Juventus were the only team to beat Real Madrid. If I can remember correctly, I think it was. I think Juventus was it. I can't remember too clearly.
Are you talking about the Ronaldo bicycle kick?
I'm trying to remember clearly.
I can't remember.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah. But if you look at the way Juventus played against Real Madrid in those ties, irregardless of result, it was. And that was peak Real Madrid. It was how solid they were. And you see, Real Madrid didn't have trouble with the Bayerns, who were very attacking. Like Real Madrid, they don't usually have trouble against teams that are very attacking, like Man City, Real Madrid. All these things. They don't have the issue. They have the issue with. That's why they always struggle against Atletico Madrid all the time. And sometimes you see in La Liga they'll lose games to like Valencia or something. You get all these kind of games, but these teams are well drilled, well drilled, well coached. And I always feel like these teams, if you're solid enough and you have like certain players in the team that could finish off certain moves, you can get far in the Champions League. And I've always said, like, in the league, you're going to need those attackers because you're playing 38 games. You can't play like this, and most teams are going to come to park the bus. But in the Champions League, that's not always the case. Unless if we ended up against Atletico Madrid, then it would have been different. But in the Champions League, most teams are coming to attack. If you look at the rest of the teams in the Champions League, Barca ready to attack. You know, Bayern, the same thing, all of that. But only Arsenal and Inter playing this way that I'm talking about, and right now that's left in the tournament. And that's why I felt like we had a great chance. Like I feel like the same. I feel the same way I feel about Arsenal is the same way I feel about Inter Milan. I feel like both teams are the perfect team to get to the final. I think it's going to be an Arsenal Inter final.
I'll be praised. We'll get on to predictions. But do you know what? My thing with Champions League football, and the reason why I've always struggled to see Arsenal going through, and which was like kind of rubber stamped to last season, is I know we have a good system. I know Arteta's built a system that keeps us competitive, especially in the big games. You know, I can't remember the last time we've lost against the Big Six. It's been like a couple of years now. Yeah, I think it's been at least 2 years now, but we lost to the Big Six. But my thing is, I've always believed in the Champions League, what happens when your system isn't winning you the game? Who rises? Who comes out, you know, head and shoulders, stands above everyone and says, I'm going to take this game by the scruff of the neck? And I've never really, outside of Saka, I've never really seen that from Arsenal players. You know, I would say this season, Champions League aside, in the league, it's been Saka and Gabriel. Gabriel is one that, you know, when we need a goal, he'll pop up, you know, with crucial goals. But obviously Gabriel was injured, so I just thought to myself, like, who's gonna be the guy? Saka's also coming back from 3 months injured. Can he rise? Can he do it? Little did I know, Declan Rice was gonna pop up with two stunning free kicks. I think that second free kick personally might be the best free kick I've seen at Emirates. At Emirates Stadium.
Okay.
At Emirates Stadium.
That free kick was special, man.
Free kick was insane. The fact that he had the guts to put it top corner on Courtois' side after already scoring the first one, insane goal.
Oh my days. He literally put it on top. Literally, if you had to go up and post it up there, that's literally where to go. And then the first one as well, around.
He put it here.
Literally.
He put it here. If this is the goal, he put it right here. That's where Declan Rice put. That's where he put the free kick right there.
Oh man! And I think he even said afterwards, that the confidence from scoring the first one is what let him take the second one like that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it was that confidence. But he was amazing.
Certain teams' captain was telling him to cross the ball. Certain captains were telling Declan Rice to cross the ball. You know.
All day.
Telling him to cross the ball. Martin. Tell him to cross the ball.
But what do you think about Odegaard in both legs?
I think, do you know what? I've watched the games back more than once, and when I first watched both matches, I was very harsh on Odegaard. I felt like, bro, you're letting the team down. Like, you're a captain and you're not leading how I want you to lead as our creative hub. What I will say is that he wasn't as bad as I thought he was from the first time I watched the games. But for a player of his talent and for where we want to be and where we want him to be, he's not doing enough. So two things can be true. I don't think he was as bad as what I thought he was, and I don't think he necessarily been as bad as he's getting the stick for. But for his technical ability, he needs to be rising. And I think it's the reason why he's getting a lot of flack now is because the trend has continued. We've seen him game after game, big opposition after big opposition, him not be the guy. It's always Saka. Arguably even Havertz in the running. And, you know, I thought to myself, all right, if there's one fixture that you're gonna rise, and I want to see you be a stand-up performer, it's against your old club who let you go as a teenager. And he just ended up being one of the guys, if not one of the lesser guys on our team. You know, there were so many other stand-up performers that I would put ahead of him in both matches. And for a player of Martin Odegaard's talent level, that shouldn't be happening. He should be top 3 performers in a big game like that on our team sheet, and he just wasn't.
He wasn't. Yeah.
So
look, I'm gonna say this about Odegaard, this is what I'm gonna say about Odegaard. No, I'm never not gonna like. I won't take the piss. You see, with Odegaard for me, I think people just need to accept what he is.
Agreed.
Because the way people look at Odegaard is they think that this guy is De Bruyne, or they think that he's Ozil, you know, or they think that he's Bruno Fernandes, but he's not. That's not what he is. You know what I mean? Odegaard, to me, he's a central midfielder, played in a system where you might think he's a 10, but he's not the 10. So we don't need to be expecting all that final pass. See what you were seeing from De Bruyne, those final actions, the runs into the final third, scoring these late goals. Yes, he had a season where he scored, but that was an anomaly. That's not what he is. If you take Odegaard for what he is in terms of receiving the ball in the build-up, helping the team to build up play, getting the ball to the final third, just helping to circle, and at the same time, a player with technical quality like that can also defend. If you accept him for what that is, then you know where it is. But at the same time, you then have to then criticize Arteta in a way, which I don't want to. But if you put a player in that system and people are saying this is our playmaker, and Arteta is saying he wants to get goals out of him, people are going to be expecting this from him. But that's not what he is. Do you see what I mean? I think he's set up in a way that people are going to be like, this is the creative player. Like Arteta was saying he wants goals from him. And if he doesn't get the goals, he's going to get criticised. But that's not what he is. We just have to accept him for what he is.
I do agree with the sentiment of what you're saying. I don't think Odegaard is ruthless enough to be a number 10 that leads a team, a top team that we want to be like Arsenal. Nowadays, the elite 10s, as unfortunately, you have to contribute to output and consistently. And I think Martin Odegaard, he's very, very good at approach play. And he's very, very good in build-up. However, when it comes to the final actions, he's inconsistent. On his day, he can provide them, but he's inconsistent. And I've always kind of likened him to players like Bernardo Silva. Whilst Bernardo Silva was an exceptional technician at his peak, he was never De Bruyne, the player responsible of carrying the team creatively. So when I bring that back to Martin Odegaard, I think...
And even at that point, even at that point, when Bernardo Silva was in that Monaco team, he still wasn't the main guy like that. Even Lamar, what's his name?
Thomas
that guy?
Lamar.
Yeah, Thomas Lamar was more direct than him. He was a secondary guy, and they played with two strikers, Mbappe and Falcao. So then he wasn't responsible for no final action. He was just responsible for receiving the ball and progressing it.
Yeah. And I think that's what Martin Odegaard is more suited to. What I will say is, just to play devil's advocate, because you're going to get a lot of fans who are still on the Martin Odegaard brigade, and they say, but what happened in, was it 22-23 or 23-24, whichever season it was, that he broke the record for non-penalty goals, and I think it was De Bruyne who had the record before, and he broke that record. So they may say he's clearly capable of doing it. It's just maybe they might point to his injury earlier on in the season and say, look, or they might point to he's newly become a father and say he's not sleeping well. Who knows? But I mean, that is a small caveat to say, maybe if you do put a top striker ahead of him, can he recapture the form that he had where he was getting all the contributions, or was that season the anomaly where he got the output in that season, but he's not actually capable of that. He was just performing way above his output standards. I guess we won't know until we do see Arsenal bringing a top striker. But me personally, I would like to see Martin Odegaard in deeper areas. I'm just saying that's what some people might rebuttal you.
And the thing with that as well is, again, that's why even when I was saying criticism of Arteta, it's not so much because this is who he wants to play there, which is fine. But it's just that when players are put in the situations, that's when you start criticizing certain things about them. Like, for example, like Declan Rice. When you're putting Declan Rice in an 8 position and you're talking about he can do more and he can score goals, and he only has 2 league goals, then people are going to say, okay, so where's the goals? This is not Lampard numbers. You know what I mean? Even when Arturo Vidal was playing 8 for Bayern and Juventus, he was scoring loads of goals. So it's like, if you're going to put players in certain positions and say, I want this from them, then people are going to ask for those things. Because I'm 100% sure if you put Declan Rice as a defensive mid and you put Odegaard as an 8 and you play a 10 in front of them, nobody's going to be asking for these things from Odegaard. And if you look at a lot of the goals he was scoring, these aren't sustainable goals. It's not like he's getting in behind. I say this all the time, unless you're Messi, you need to get in the box to score goals consistently. Like, you're not just going to keep shooting all the way from outside and keep on scoring. Even De Bruyne is not a great goal scorer. Like, he scores key goals, but he's not a consistent scorer. Do you know what I mean? So you need to get into the box to score goals. And also, with that assist, we've never seen Odegaard in terms of just like playing Hollywood passes. He's not that kind of guy. And the players who do get a lot of assists, it's not because they only play one pass and that is the assist. It's because they play multiple passes. Even the passes that sometimes you have to say, why do you keep on playing that pass? You see Bruno Fernandes, for example.
They gamble.
Exactly, they gamble a lot.
Is not a gamble.
He doesn't.
And when the odd occasion when he does try and gamble, his execution is so off it because you know it doesn't come natural to him.
Exactly. And there's a big part of creativity that he doesn't even have, which is when you get to the byline and you cut back, he doesn't make that run often enough. Bruno makes that run. Ozil used to make that run. De Bruyne makes that run. That's a run that can give you an extra 5 assists in a season. He hardly makes that. When he does make it, it's a cutback back to Saka. You see what I mean? So he doesn't really make that off the ball run past defenders to get into the box to cut back. So again, his profile doesn't seem like that. But when you put these players in that position and you're asking them to do that, people are going to be criticizing them based on what you're asking them to do. But of course, again, the fact that you have someone like Odegaard as your 10, who's not a 10 really, who's really a centre mid, but can defend as well. And you have Rice, who's not really an 8, he's an 8, but he's more of a defensive player, and he's playing there. It makes the team even more solid. And then you have Partey as well. It makes us, and that's also our advantage as well as a team. Because another thing that you maybe we've had this criticism or I've had this criticism about how Saka's been used, where he's having to track back so much, or Martinelli having to track back so much. But at the same time, them doing that is also why Arsenal are so solid as well.
Agreed,
do you get it? So it's like, you take away from offensive situations, but at the same time, you add so much defensively to the team. And you have to praise that as well. And you have to praise Arteta for that as well.
You do. I want to touch on Mikel Merino. You know, excellent strike in the first leg, 2 assists in the second leg. What's your thoughts on him? And is he putting a certain number 29 to shame?
No. You see the film Mikel Merino, which I would say as well, I didn't like the signing personally.
Same.
I'm not going to. I didn't like the reason why I didn't like the signing was mainly because I felt like the 8 that I wanted us to have was a guy that can control a game, a guy that adds more creativity to the game. So I'm not going to take that away from him. However, what I'm going to praise Mikel Merino for is that the guy is a competitor, and he showed it in that tie. So there's nothing he can do for me ever, and going forward, that's ever going to take that away from me. I look at him like I look at guys like Koke, guys like Vidal, competitive midfielders, Javi Martinez. These guys that Khedira, these sort of guys that you put them in big teams. Yeah, they're not the most technical guys. They're not the most creative. They're not the best goal scorers. But in big moments, they're going to stand out. And standing out doesn't just mean goals. They're going to stand out in terms of whatever instruction the manager's given them to do, they will do it and they don't fold. And I feel like I'm starting to see how Arteta's recruited these guys in terms of these guys who are very disciplined. They've got great physical quality and great intelligence as well. And the thing is whatever he's asking them to do, they're doing on the pitch. And I can see why he also likes Rice as an 8. If you have a guy that can run for days, very strong, and can do whatever you ask him to do on the pitch, of course you're not just going to isolate him as a 6. Do you get it? Because you're thinking, I can literally get this guy to do whatever I want on the pitch. Why would I just tell him to just stand back there? And I see that with Mikel Merino literally dominating the final third. The defenders, he's putting himself on, he's winning aerial duels, dropping back, playing balls in behind, getting assists, doing everything that you want from the midfield. Again, like you say, you have to question Kai Havertz. The way I see it is neither of them are strikers anyways. But it does kind of tell you that even though the people that are praising Havertz for playing as a striker, it's seriously, Mikel Merino has come in and has done way better already at a higher level.
Yeah.
Already.
It's the level. I think the key point is it's the level. And he hasn't, I'm yet to see Mikel Merino really fluff his lines. One thing I've been really impressed with Merino is his execution of what he wants to do in the final third has been quite consistent. I've not seen him play sloppy. I've not seen really lose the ball sloppily or or have a terrible shot decision. When he shoots, he actually shoots with the good bit of conviction. And he's quite good at clean strikes and getting the ball on target as well. I've not really seen him just look like a bozo in front of goal. He might not cause he might not cause defenses the most of issues in terms of hassling the centre back. Like Kai Havertz might do, but. I've been very impressed with just how assured he is in his actions. The weight of those 2 passes in the second leg. I have to stress those were quality passes. He played that ball for Saka. He timed it perfectly so Saka wasn't offside, and even for Martinelli, he held it just enough so that Martinelli could be clean through. You know, and those passes are easy to fluff.
Yeah, it's true because you can overplay, or you can play, or you can
play
rush
too
it,
late, or you can play too late.
Yeah, and you can rush it because of the moment as well.
Exactly. Yeah,
you can rush it because of the moment. But the way I look at like Marino, Havertz, Martinelli, all these guys, for me, I don't even criticize them. Like from now going forward, the way I look at them now is, yes, I don't want them as the first choice.
Yeah.
But can you imagine having first choice players that can actually put these guys on the bench, and then having these guys on the bench
as options? Yeah.
These are competitors that I can't imagine them complaining on the bench. Like imagine having Marino on the bench, Havertz on the bench, Martinelli on the bench, physical guys that. Look at how fast Martinelli was running in the 90 whatever minute that he ran.
Yeah, crazy.
Imagine that guy being your second option off the bench against teams that are already tired.
Yeah.
So like Arteta's built like a
I think the defender chasing him gave up
because it was clean through.
Yeah.
And especially for a guy that was running back and forth, the holding, staying wide, attacking and defending the whole game, to be able to run like that, that's what we could possibly have on the bench. And that's also the frustration when I'm like, we need to sign a winger and a striker, is because these guys, for me, if they're on the bench, like I would never complain about a Marino or Rice. A Marino or Havertz or Martinelli as bench options. I can never come. That's insane depth.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think Mikel Arteta might be the best in the world at identifying the I want to call it false eight.
Stumbling on
false eight position. It's a new position. It's a new role. You know, where you're not good enough to be an eight, but if we're missing a striker and you want to fill in, you
get there.
That's where you're best at.
That's your best at.
I think if you're looking for a midfielder that can't play midfield but can play up front, Arteta's your guy.
Arteta's got that ID.
He's got that ID at least.
He's got that ID.
You know. All right. So another player I wanna not play, actually players I wanna touch on is our fullback pairing. For me personally, goals and assists aside, they were my two standout players. Timber and Miles Lewis-Skelly. Skellington, crazy performances,
bro.
Crazy performances.
Bro. That guy, Lewis-Skelly, for me he's already like he was professionally. He was. I don't know how he was so prepared for professional football already at his age already. Literally came into the first team already built like he was a pro player for like 4 years already. He was just ready. And the thing is his confidence as well.
Insane confidence.
His confidence is insane. But I think that confidence is even coming from his physicality and his technique. I say all the time, it reminds me of so much of Moussa Dembele. Like, you see, like even Pogba, you see what they have. You see sometimes where people are criticizing Pogba for this as well, where sometimes he will tend to just stand off the ball rather than carry the ball. He's like trying to show his strength to the defenders, and he's like holding them up and things like that. Rather than running, he will hold them off, turn, create angle, and then he'll start running. That's what Lewis Kelly is like. He invites it because he knows you can't take the ball off him. Just that confidence in your technique, the confidence in your strength that I'm gonna. But even when you think back to I think there was a penalty he gave away or something like that. But I felt like he underplayed. I can't remember who the player was, but I think he underplayed how strong Kudus was. You know when he gave was it red card? Yeah. I think because Kudus is a strong guy. You know what I mean? But I think he didn't know how strong Kudus was at that time. So that's just the young mentality. Like, but you can see that he just believes in his strength so much because players bounce off him. Players bounce off him and the ball stuck to his foot. So he obviously thought that Kudus wasn't going to be as strong as it was, and then that's why he ended up fouling him. But like that confidence, that strength, that technical quality, the ability to bypass players, the fact that he can play left back and win, do you get, and win all these tackles and win all these duels against these guys. But Skelly is just insane, and I just can't believe how good he is straight away. And it's like sometimes you look at academy players and like you can always, it kind of reminds me of like Smith Rowe and Saka. First, where Smith Rowe was the guy that was, this is the guy. You know, like, because if you remember before, Smith Rowe was the number one. It wasn't Saka in the beginning, and the Saka just came straight through. But he's always this guy that just well developed. Like, you can just tell that Saka was just solid and strong. Do you get it? And then I'm looking at that with Nwaneri and Skelly as well. You see, Nwaneri is not, like, physically still not ready for the game, but Skelly just came straight through, ready for pro football. You know what I mean? Like, already. It's insane. And then Timber for me, bro.
So before we go into Timber, Skelly for me is just, I'm almost waiting for him. It's almost like pinch me, I'm dreaming. Like I'm waiting for him to have like a bad spell, you know. This time last year, some people didn't even know who Skelly was. Obviously, if you follow academy football, you definitely know who he was. But never in a million years did I dream of him being so established in our team now, man. He made his first team debut this season, you know, from hitting the Haaland celebration hitting that after getting that goal, after shutting him up after Haaland tried to question who are you, from doing that, to making your debut, getting a call up for England, facing all that adversity, all that race, all that he was facing from the fans, to scoring on your debut as well, scoring a quality goal. He just keeps on any barrier, he just keeps on knocking it down. And to think we signed a left back in the summer. So
and he's nowhere near Lewis Kelly's
and
level.
Lewis Kelly is the first choice now. It's absolutely insane. In the first leg, Lewis Kelly, double nutmeg. I remember. Do you remember it?
Yeah, on the edge of the box.
Double nutmeg on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
He said, Bellingham, get off me. Jude, get off me. Camavinga, close your letterbox. Camavinga, close your letterbox. Valverde, one of the best players in the world, to me anyway.
Questionable.
Nutmegged Valverde as well. And then played a good pass into Martinelli. Obviously, Martinelli missed a chance. But you're doing this against top opposition that your age mates are probably using to play on FIFA. And you're playing against them, and you're playing like it's FIFA on the pitch. And performing.
And the confidence, man. And the fact that he's not even concerned about the environment. Like, there was a video of him online, before the second leg, and he had his headphones in, listening to music, laughing his head off, walking around.
He's just
the
calm.
Confidence is too much.
He's just
man.
calm. He locking up Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Locking him up. It's just.
Yeah. And then obviously Timber, man. Like, I didn't realize Timber was like 23. Oh, I think I said it in our last pod. I said it. For me, he's a top 3 right back in the world.
I can't argue against it.
Top 3 right back in the world. The guy's solid defensively, and on the ball.
Very assured in possession.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe that we had these two fullbacks. Incredible, man. Incredible.
Man.
But yeah,
incredible.
Man. Yeah.
Incredible. So yeah, them two for me, stand-up performers. And just touching on that, Skelly locking up Rodrigo. What were we saying about? We have to revisit Saka Rodrigo, man. We have to revisit Saka Rodrigo. I mean, we both picked Saka in our combined 11. Yeah. But there are a lot of naysayers who they feel like Saka has no place in the team ahead of Rodrigo. And I mean, for me, I don't judge players off one-off games, but I think this tie was definitely monumental in just the way we saw it play out. Yeah. On the one hand, you see Rodrigo not able to do anything against an 18-year-old Skelly, who's playing in the Champions League for the first time this season. Compare that to Saka, who's coming off 3 months injured. 3 months injured. He just made his return a few games ago, coming in and just absolutely tearing Alaba's shorts in half. Pause. I mean, I think if that doesn't tell you, that Saka belongs at that table, then I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, look, the Panenka penalty, and you know what? I wasn't too mad at it. I was, in the sense of, I thought to myself, okay, it was an opportunity to end the tie then and there. But for me, I didn't mind the personality, because it shows a bit. It shows a bit of like that kind of I'm him factor. So I'm gonna try this. Yeah. Don't do it again though. Don't do it again. If against PSG, please just bottom corner. I beg.
Smash it, bro.
Please,
smash
just bottom corner. Just bottom corner.
Smash it.
But I didn't mind it too tough. And the cheek to, after you've missed the Panenka, the cheek to finish your goal like that, to dink Courtois. Well, how tall is Courtois? 6'5", 6'6"? 6'5". Yeah. So you said if it didn't work the first time, I'm gonna dink you by force. I'm gonna dink you by force.
And you know what killed me like in that thing as well is, I think he was also thinking about that. What's it called? That interview is coming as well, saying that he wasn't on this level. I think that's also why he went to Dink, was to show them. Yeah. But irregardless, he came back off of an injury in the first leg, performed top class performance, and the second leg he scored a crucial goal as well. So he already showed already. There's nothing there. Like, for me, Saka, like I said in the last pod as well, this guy is a machine.
And I don't even think it was relatively an amazing game from Saka in terms of from his standards. I think he could play a lot better than he did against both ties. Yeah. So it just shows Saka at 70% was able to hang with the Rodrigos, the Mbappes and everything. I'm not saying he's as good as the Mbappes and Vinny's, but he was able to hang at that table, and he contributed over the 2 legs a lot more than they did. Yeah. So
I think Saka is approaching that level of a Vinny and Mbappe.
Really?
Yeah, I think it is. And I think the reason why Saka may not be looked at like that is simply because of the flashiness of it.
Yeah.
Like Saka is a machine. I keep saying that all the time. Like if you look at that game, or if you look at when he came back from injury in the first leg, every touch counted. He's doing something on the ball.
Yeah.
Yes, Vinny is flashy and stuff like that. I rate Vinny highly. Like I still think Vinny is the best player in the world. Yeah, but I think that Saka can win a Ballon d'Or. Someday, I think if he stays fit next season, he's going to compete for the Ballon d'Or. Saka for me is like, the thing is this year is, if you look at the way the season was going, yeah, Saka had 16 goals and assists in 16 games. Every game he was contributing to a goal or an assist. And every single game he was contributing to whatever goal we scored. If we become a team if we plays fully next season, I can see him, those numbers again, doubling again.
Yeah, and if we become a team that ends up winning honours, you know he's going to be at the
He's going to be the guy,
yeah.
And then so the numbers are going to be there, and the performance is there already. And every time this guy gets the ball, it's not a case of like, Vinny had a poor performance like against us. Saka doesn't have poor performances like that. He don't have it. Like every time you give the ball, he's doing something. Like there's no negative. It's just all positives. So it's like Saka for me is there. Like he's there. It's just that we just need to win. That's literally the only thing for me. We just need to win. If we win, Saka is it.
You know what? I heard recently. I heard a very good breakdown on Saka and why casuals or neutrals or even ops, struggle to rate him. And this individual said, Saka, like you said, he's not the flashiest player. He doesn't do the flashy things. So the things he does on the pitch, as an observer, he's doing things that you yourself believe you can do. So the actual actions, they don't look outstanding because, he's not doing anything out of the ordinary in terms of the actual actions he's doing. He's doing the simple things. However, he's consistently doing the basics and the simple things to a very, very high level because he's never wasteful. Rarely is he wasteful. He might be one of the most intelligent, if not the most intelligent winger in the world, because he makes every action count. He doesn't overdo or try things that are unnecessary, And when it is time to execute the meaningful action, he does it very consistently. Yeah. And it's just something that, like, just at this point now, you just have to applaud.
Yeah, that's why I keep saying machine. The guy is just so efficient on the ball. Every touch of the ball is where it is. It's like if you think about like boxing, Floyd Mayweather. Like this is why a lot of people say he's boring. But the guy is boring because he does the fundamentals so well. You can't beat him. If he was so boring and you thought they used to say Floyd was pillow fisted. Yeah. But yet you never see nobody try to walk Floyd down. Floyd fought bigger guys. No one tried to walk straight into him. Why? Because if he's pillow fisted, why didn't they walk with their hands down? It never happened. You know what I mean? Because he's doing the fundamentals well. It doesn't look spectacular. Like you see these fighters that are going back and forth, knocking each other down, doing this, doing that. Floyd wasn't doing that. He was just simple. And I think that's the reason why I'm going into boxing now. But that's the reason why. If you remember in the past, people were thinking Pacquiao was going to beat Floyd because Pacquiao was a guy getting knocked out, knocking people out, doing this, doing that. But Floyd schooled him. He schooled him just the straight fundamentals, and for me, that's Saka, just straight fundamentals. And like that was a good point about how people can see what he's doing and thinking they can do that because he looks so simple. But the timing is the biggest. The timing, that's the biggest thing. The timing, the feints, like simple things here. But the timing is so on point. The feint is so on point that defender. I think even that Forest defender, Olaino mentioned. I think they asked him, "Who do you think the better winger is?" And he said Saka over Salah.
Yeah.
Because that's the guy that's going to trouble you for 90 minutes. Like because we're going to give him the ball and he's not going to make no mistakes. So that fullback is not going to sleep. You know what I mean? That fullback is not going to... You see with Salah, cool. Salah, again, striker playing out wide, but Salah could play off the ball. You know what I mean? Well, but see the thing is... See the thing with Salah is that he could play off the ball all game. And just go get a tap in. Saka is not going to give you that luxury. He's not going to let you rest. He's just going to be on you consistently. And man, that guy is just top, man.
It was just a great affair, great fixture.
Great performance, man. Great performance.
All the captions. 90 minutes is a long time in the Bernabeu. But not quite long enough because Martinez got the injury time. Rice cooks better with the lid on. Heritage lost this time. But all right, so those were the quarterfinals. I think let's go on to semi-final predictions.
Who should we start with?